Catch a Vibe with Big Hass, only on Pulse 95.
That is right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and peace, love, and blessings. Welcome to another episode of Catch a Vibe with me, Big Hass. Catch a Vibe airs every Saturday and Sunday from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. right here on this beautiful station, Pulse 95 Radio. And man, oh man, I want to say thank you to everybody. It's actually our 52nd episode. Thank you to all the music enthusiasts, the singers, the songwriters, the musicians that blessed me with their time. I always say that this is a show that humanizes artists and people and musicians and music enthusiasts, and we get to know them. Today's show is truly special because it's the first time on the show that we get like somebody who teaches music in a way. But before I even introduce him, I want to say thank you to music, because it's through music that I got acquainted with this human being. And if you guys remember, about a couple of weeks ago or so, I played this beautiful rendition of Mawtani, which means my homeland, and it was brought to you by the Performing Arts Program in collaboration with the Palestinian Culture Club at the American University of Sharjah, that featured, alumni, students, faculty, and staff. And it's actually the Performing Arts Program from the College of Arts and Sciences at AUS who produced this rendition of Mawtani, which we all love this record, and we're about to play it, of course. The reason why I said that is because guess what? I actually have the assistant professor of music at American University of Sharjah, and I'm also the director of Arabic Music Ensemble, the one, the only Dr. Albert Agha with me. We're going to say Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My brother, I want to say thank you to you, and thank you to AUS for, just for being who you are. Straight off the top, this rendition of Mawtani that we're about to play in a bit, again on the radio, tell me the whole process, because I played it over 10 times, and I played it actually 2 times on the radio that day, and I've never done that with any record. Tell me, how did the idea get sparked? Obviously, it's in solidarity with what's going on with our brothers and sisters in Gaza and Palestine, but tell me about the process, because I cannot wait to hear the story behind it.
Yeah, Mawtani just came along just seeing the students, on campus, the way they were feeling. We're supposed to have concerts, so we have concerts every semester. We put on shows for people to come and watch, and we canceled this year, or this semester in particular, mainly because the mood wasn't right to do any live performances. The students were not feeling it. So we decided to just do a music video for Mawtani, one of the most powerful songs, probably for whatever nationality you are, because
Facts.
people can, relate to it.
You relate to it.
No matter what, no matter where you're from. And this song was written in 1934, so even before the Nakba, by Lebanese writers and musicians, and it really captures this idea of the homeland.
Correct.
Which is a very special concept for many people. And homeland is an idea that changes based on what you view as the home. Your idea of home kind of is a fluid idea. People have different conceptions of the home.
Correct.
And the homeland is where that is, where your family is, where your memories are. Where you meet your first love,
Yes.
or you make all these close relationships that you have memories of areas, of neighborhoods, and so it's a very special concept, and the video ended up gathering more than 400,000 hits right now.
It definitely went viral, but even before that, I want to kind of, you guys, how did you choose that, like Mawtani?
So Mawtani, actually, we did it a couple of years ago during COVID.
Okay.
As one of those videos with, the squares on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just a little group of people. We just wanted to, because we were sitting in the office, we couldn't perform live. We couldn't do anything on campus live. So we did Mawtani, a small rendition of it. And then kind of brainstormed in the department what we need to do, and I had a bunch of students that were great singers.
Wow.
We went to the studio and we just put the music together. We overlapped it. We overlapped the voices. with the students. We don't have a big recording studio at AUS. We're working on it.
Bless you.
And we just started recording Molteni. I had to teach it to many students that didn't know it. Of course, we had the Palestinian Cultural Club with us as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of those students were not singers, but they know the song very well.
Of course.
And Molteni, of course, is an anthem for Iraq.
It is.
A new anthem for Iraq. In 2002 or 2003, I think it became a national anthem for Iraq, but it's also the unofficial anthem of Palestine.
Yeah, correct.
So there's that aspect of it. And so a lot of students were very supportive of that idea. I pitched it to the head of the Palestinian Cultural Club, and he said, yes, we will come, we will be there. And then we ended up having the girl with the thobe in the video by coincidence.
Really?
She just came looking like that.
Oh, wow.
And she represented Palestine in the group. If you see, she was the only one that was dressed in the traditional Palestinian thobe. Yeah.
Wow. How emotional was it to shoot this?
It was not easy to, it had to be. So we had Dr. Suhail Dahal from the MCM, from the film professor, and Dina Stevens, our social media coordinator, is also an amazing videographer.
Yes.
And they helped us with choreographing the video, which of course we shot after we did the recording. So we overdubbed the recording, and they helped. They had this vision of, what if we do? Dr. Suhail said, what if we do this Gaza with candles at the end and just put it on the floor and zoom out of it? And that was that last shot. So we filmed during the day, we filmed at night. It was a whole day.
It's for me, it's incredible. And I obviously, as assistant professor of music at AUS and as somebody who's really like, how proud are you of everybody in this video?
I mean, the students were amazing. I'm super proud. They're really talented. I mean, maybe you'll get to come to one of our concerts one day.
Please, let's go.
Hopefully, coming up in the spring, we'll be able to do something. Inshallah. We have choir. We have Western choir. We have a choir director. We have opera singer, soloist, piano players, oud players. And we do Arabic and Western music. So our students are pretty, what I would call bimusical. In the sense that they're able to do the Western and Middle Eastern repetoire.
That's a big talent right there.
Big talent. And some people do one either, and some people do both. But they're a talented group of students. I'm really proud of them. I mean, they did an amazing job. We had a couple of faculty members to sing with us in that video.
I saw obviously faculty and the staff and obviously alumni as well.
Alumni, and even the person that helped us with the recording, the mastering, and Nadir Diyarbakirli, the violinist, he was in the video too. God bless him. He did a great job too with the mix afterwards.
I mean, for me, we're about to hear this, but I wanted to start this, chat with you because this is kind of my angle to get to know you as Albert, Dr. Albert, and for me, it's an honor really sitting down with you. You guys, this human being is so talented, it's crazy. There's a lot of things that he has done and accomplished. We're just kind of scratching the surface, but this is kind of my angle, how I got to know of him, and this record is truly, truly special. Before I play this record, when you heard this record for the first time and you saw the video, take me through your own emotions as Albert.
So I heard this record like 1,000 times by the time it was released, obviously, because I was working on the music and making sure everything.
But when it's officially,
good.
when it was officially out and you see the feedback of the people.
When officially out, I started getting phone calls to my office from faculty members on campus.
Bless.
Almost crying. I mean, a couple of people were like, because they were dying to express themselves. And, music is just such a powerful tool to bring out the emotions. And people's emotions were really high. Yeah. And so, it was, my wife was crying. She's Brazilian.
Shout out to her.
She doesn't understand the words, but she sees the emotionality behind the music. It was a moment where I realized, oh, wow, this is something really great. I'm glad we were able to do it. And at least, move people. And people are already emotional.
Yeah.
This is the emotional time for a lot of people on campus.
But I'm gonna say that you guys read the like obviously they're students. You're the assistant professor of music there. It felt like you're reading the room in a perfect way to express yourself in that way, and it was so genuine, and it went viral. And a lot of people that some people from Saudi Arabia also saw it from my page and were like, "What? Wow, we know this record, but we never heard it that way." So I will say this to you, Dr. Albert. There's an old Bedouin saying that says, "الإنسان الذي لا أثر له لا حياة له." A human being with no impact has no life, and I think you were able to impact so many with this. Obviously 3-minute video and song. There was so much passion into it, and like you said, people were already emotional. And I respect everyone that was in the video and that worked on this. And we're about to hear it again on the radio.
Yes.
So right now, let's play this Mawtini. It's a beautiful rendition, you guys, of Mawtini, which means my homeland. Brought to you again, the Performing Arts program from the College of Arts and Sciences at AUS actually produced this rendition. And the man right here in the studio had a lot to do with it. Of course, I want to shout out everybody, the Palestinian Culture Club, of course, and the vocalists, the instrumentals by AUS students, alumni, and faculty and staff. So let's listen to this record, and then we're gonna dive deep into the world of Dr. Albert Agha, who actually plays the oud really well. So I can't wait. It's my favorite instrument. So I'm excited. It's Catch a Vibe on Pulse 95 Radio. Keep it locked. Do not go anywhere.
Catch a Vibe with Big Hass, only on Pulse 95.
Pulse 95 Radio, Catch a Vibe, right here on Pulse 95 Radio. I have with me Dr. Albert Agha, who is the assistant professor of music at American University of Sharjah and the director of Arabic Music Ensemble. Dr. Albert, we were talking off air, and I was like, I'm going to play you a song, and he's like, by oud artist, and he's like, Clarissa Bitar. I was like, yep, that's actually her. You know Clarissa.
Beautiful. Yes.
And she's amazing.
Yes.
Very talented, and you actually as well play the oud. But listen, in the first segment we talked about Mawtini, and we just heard it. Beautiful record. I want to start kind of from Albert. How did you get into what you got into? How did you fall in love with music, like back then? And tell me the story about what impacted you in music. Like, why music? Why did you decide to become an assistant professor of music, and obviously impacted so many people, and now you're teaching, obviously, students?
Yeah, it's a pretty long journey. I started playing music 5-6 years old on the keyboard just by myself.
Wow.
I was born in Dubai, actually.
Okay.
And then moved back to Syria, and then
You're
eventually
from Syria, yeah, correct.
Originally, my parents are from Syria, yes, and then ended up in the U.S. At around the age of 14 in middle school.
Okay.
And when I went back to Syria, kind of dabbled with the idea of oud and playing oud. And,
oh, wow.
And eventually I started working with the oud with Simon Shaheen in the United States.
Simon Shaheen?
Yeah, the Simon Shaheen, the oud player.
Yeah.
I met him in a music retreat, and he really inspired me. He's an incredible musician.
Yeah.
And I met a lot of his colleagues, Bassam Saba, people from, of course, Sharbat Rouhana,
Yes.
Rima Khshesh, a lot of
Rima
people
Khshesh,
there.
yes.
So I met these guys in the U.S.
What?
as a teenager, and I was super inspired by them and their musicianship. Of course, Bassam Saba, Allah yarhamu, passed away during COVID in Lebanon, and the Arabic Music Retreat is a big scene in the United States for Arab musicians from all over the world. It's about 70-80 people that get together for a week and go through intensive musical training in Arabic music. With Simon Shaheen and with all these great professors. So that's when I started kind of getting serious about performance and met a lot of people. Then.
Wow.
Yeah. Eventually, I
What would you say? Sorry. What would you say was it about that impacted you in a way? Was like, oh, that's what I want to do.
I just loved music since I was little. I mean, started singing in high school in Syria. Actually, when I was in elementary school, I started singing ma tala'a, which is these guys that go around the country and sing in mahrajanat. So I was doing musicals, masrahiyat, musical. And we recorded in Iza' wa Television in Damascus. We had like original compositions. So I was involved in music.
How old were you?
I mean, this was like 5th grade.
Oh, wow.
6th grade.
Anything that we can see online? That's amazing.
I can't find them back then. This was like late 80s, early
Mashallah.
90s.
Okay.
Late 80s, early
Okay.
90s. So in Syria, I was involved with singing mainly in schools, and the schools were very active. Tala had a lot of activities with arts, and of course,
would you say what role did the home play? Like, how was the house like?
The
Is it
house,
music?
yeah, very musical. So my family's from Halab, and Halab is a very musical city in Syria. I grew up listening to Sabah Fakhri, and my parents listened to all sorts of singers. There's a saying that every neighborhood in Halab has singers in it. No matter where you go, whether they're known or not known, it's just very music, and the food, of course.
Yes.
So food and music is a very big part.
Love that
of the city. So Halab is a musical place, and I kind of grew up in that culture.
Like, what kind of what was the music playing in the house when you were growing up?
We had a lot of Sabah Fakhri, Kulthum, Muhammad Abdul Wahab.
Oh, wow.
All the big giants. Noor Muhannad, some of the newer singers, and Muhammad Khairi. There was a lot of good music that was played. So some of these legends, of course, and I also would would go to Hammam al-Suq, which is and they would have concerts there. I'd be sitting with my dad, and they would have a group there singing together, men singing together. Sometimes ibtihalat diniya, that are also combined with the qudud al-halabiyya. So some of those melodies translate to the religious themes as well.
How old were you in this vibe? Like, how old were you?
Yeah, I mean, I was like 9 years old.
Would you say, looking back at this, that impacted you, like the way?
Of course, of course. The musicality, this exposure, constant exposure, definitely helps. Helps with the ear training, with the musicianship, and that's some of the things I talk about with my students. Is how important it is to
have lucky students. I can tell you that you guys are so lucky. I already sat with him for 10 minutes. I wish I could take that class. But that's really amazing. Going back to, obviously, when you were in the U.S., so you were born here.
Yes.
You were born in the UAE.
In Dubai. Yeah.
In Dubai.
Yeah.
When did you go to the States?
I went to the States in 1996.
Okay.
And I was in 8th grade.
Okay.
8th grade.
Okay.
9th grade. So middle school. So that was a complete cultural shock for me, of course.
How was that?
We used to visit the U.S. because my grandparents lived there. But eventually we immigrated to the United States for good. It was tough. I played basketball when I was in Aleppo.
What?
With Nadi Jala. So I was part of the...
We have a lot of things in common, and I'm telling you guys already. Nadi Jala, professionally?
Not professionally, no. As a kid.
Okay.
In the club. So and so I loved basketball in the U.S. I kind of connected with... I played like JV and eventually varsity in the high school. So...
what position? You look like a shooting guard.
Center. No,
Center.
I mean center, but I wasn't starting.
Big guy.
I wasn't starting because there's a lot of guys that were better than me. My level kind of dropped as soon as I got to the States because there were really good players there.
Man, it's like crazy over there. But
so
that's incredible.
And then with music, it's kind of made the transition to start more Western. So I joined the choir, took music theory courses, and I went to a good high school there, while still listening to Kulthum as I was like eating my lunch by myself in school because I couldn't relate with anybody there that knew this music or knew anything about it. So at the same time, I was playing oud at home, and I was,
Was oud the first instrument you kind of picked up? You fell in love with?
Yeah, I mean, I played piano a little bit when I was a kid, but wasn't trained officially on the piano. But oud, yeah.
What was it about oud?
My mother really liked the oud. She said, "I want you to play this instrument. I love this instrument."
I love her.
So my mother loves music, and she's not a musician. She has a good voice, but she wanted me to learn oud. And the first time I actually dabbled with the idea of oud, I drew oud on a cardboard piece. Just drew it just to feel how that would be because I never played a string instrument. So I had like a oud that was made out of cardboard. And it was like, oh, this is what it would be like to just play that. And before I got an oud, and before my parents got me oud.
Do you remember your first oud?
I do. Yeah, I got it ordered and delivered to the U.S. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And it was like broken in shipping, and there were
Really?
problems with it. It was cheap oud. But it was good enough to start playing.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
What is it about the oud, Dr. Albert, that makes it so special like that? Like you're saying with your mom, and for me, it's my favorite. It and the qanoon for me is this incredible instruments that every Arab will like feeling emotional. What is it about this instrument?
Yeah, the oud has it's a very old instrument. Of course, it goes back to antiquity. Probably of Persian origin.
Yeah.
In terms of the region, and developed over centuries. The timbre is really special for the oud. The tone, الصوت, نوعية الصوت.
Correct. The
color,
quality of it.
The quality of it's very unique, and that's unique to every instrument. But the Arabs really took on the oud.
It's
and
ours.
and it just and the Persians play it,
Yeah.
Turkish play it. They have their own styles, and especially in this part of the world, actually, the oud is a very big deal. And it's kind of the songwriter instrument of the Arab world.
Love that you said that, because in Saudi Arabia we have amazing musicians like Talal Maddah,
Yes.
so rest in peace, and known if you play the oud and you sing like you're lethal right there.
Yeah. It helps with most of the composers, like they played oud. Riyad al-Sanbati,
Yes.
Hamad Abdul Wahab played oud.
Yeah.
Even the singers, like you'd see Kulthum holding oud, Sabah Fakhri holding oud. So all of George Wassouf, all of these guys that like sing.
It's nice what you said. It's a songwriter instrument.
It's a songwriter instrument.
Love that.
It's a singer's instrument, and it's very easy to compose. Of course, it's fretless, so it gives us the ability to do the microtonal maqamat, the maqamat that you might not find in Western music as well.
Correct.
And so it's more akin to like a cello or a violin or a viola, where you can actually play every single note in between. Whereas in a guitar, for example, or piano, you're limited to the frets.
Correct.
They're already measured for you. They're already all there, and you played what's called the well-tempered scale.
You know what I just noticed, Dr. Albert? Something really interesting. This is just now. While you're talking, I felt like this is kind of the first time I speak with, when you study music, right? There's a different, we all love music, but I never really had a conversation with somebody that teaches music that way. And even when you're talking about the oud right now, I fell in love with what you're saying. It's just incredible. I'm sure the students feel the same way. And if they're doing music and they want to get into music, for me, I'm just a radio host at this point who loves music. But thank you for being you.
No, but I mean, those things, people wonder about. And
Yeah.
They know there's something there. Like, they know there's a sound they're hearing.
But
that's
even
different.
the articulation of what you're
but
saying.
to articulate it, and then when you articulate back to them, like, oh, okay, so that makes sense. There are notes that are between the black keys and the white keys on the piano that you guys play.
Yeah.
And those are what they call the exotic, funky notes in the West. They would call them in the U.S. Like, oh, play that funky note, man. It's a great. What we'd call it in Arabic is ruba al-sawt.
Ruba al-sawt, yeah.
Microtonal, which is what gives to some scales, not all of Arabic music, because like some part of Arabic music use those scales, like bayati or rust or these scales that have
it's insane that we're still scratching the surface, and there's so much knowledge already. I want to take definitely a short break, but I want to hear you play the oud, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure.
So and then obviously I want to ask you in the next segment about how did that transition happen? How did you become a assistant professor? How did this whole happen? So I want you to grab your oud. We have, ladies and gentlemen, with us Dr. Albert Agha, who is the assistant professor of music at the American University of Sharjah and the director of Arabic Music Ensemble. You can hear already the passion, obviously. You got me. Let me put that other mic on for you. So, Dr. Albert, what are you going to perform for us right now?
I'm going to perform a piece by Dr. Ali Jihad Rasi, who is my advisor. I know we were talking about him before we started the segment. He composed a piece called Sama'i Nahawand. Sama'i is a form of music, of instrumental music, and Nahawand is the scale name, the maqam name. So it's a piece that I like to play. I play the beginning of it because it's a pretty long piece. I'm not going to play the whole thing. So here's Sama'i Nahawand by Dr. A.J. Rasi.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Albert Agha, assistant professor of music at AUS. Take it away. What? Nah. Oh. Allah yahmeek.
Allah يخليك يا رب.
That's all I can say. There's definitely a lot of emotions, obviously, when but thank you for that. I kind of needed to hear that.
Yeah, Dr. Rossi is a really special person. He was my advisor for my PhD dissertation, and he's just an inspiration. He wrote a book on Tarab.
He wrote a book on Tarab, yeah.
Called The Cultural and Artistry of Tarab, which is the first English book that talks about the concept of Tarab, which is a very special concept to Arab culture.
Of course.
So
it's the first English book.
It's the first English book to discuss Tarab, and his study talks about the culture, surrounding Kulthum life, the golden era, the 19.
Ya Allah.
In the mid 1900s.
I miss this era, to be honest.
It's a good era. Yeah, a lot of special things happen. And so he talks about the nuances of Tarab, what evokes Tarab, the idea of Sultana, what that means.
And it's all in English. What's the book called?
The Culture and Artistry of Tarab.
Amazing. Okay.
By A.J. Rossi, R-A-C-Y.
Wow.
Check it out. It's a great book.
Great. It's really amazing. I want to take a short break, but I want to put you on the spot, Dr. Albert. You ready?
Okay.
he just gave me the silence. No, but part of the show is I ask the guest to play a song, obviously, in the break. And it doesn't matter. You can play any record as long as it's clean. Radio. So we played Multini, obviously. Right now, what can we play? Any song that comes to your mind.
Any song, Arabic or English?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Any record that you feel can play right now as part of a break between the two segments, we'll play it.
Even if it's long, or are you gonna play the whole thing?
Yeah. Like what? What do you have in mind?
I mean, بعيد عنك, which is one of my favorite Kulthum songs.
I mean, we could play I don't know if we play all of it. It's the whole. But let's play a bit of it.
Sure.
How about that?
Yeah.
But what does the song mean to you? Why did you choose this song?
It's a song that I used to listen to a lot before going to bed at night. Not to, I would fall asleep eventually, but I just love the lyrics, the changes in the modes within it, and it's a whole journey.
Of course.
Sometimes I would go for a few weeks of just a song. It's almost like this song is like a whole album, right?
Correct.
Because that's how long her songs
Facts. Oh, man, beautiful record. Thank you so much for choosing. We're going to listen to a little bit of it. And I think this is the first time we play, obviously, this record on Pulse 95 Radio. But, of course, we have a special guest with Dr. Albert Agha, who is the Assistant Professor of Music at AUS, you guys, and the Director of Arabic Music Ensemble. Do not go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Keep it Pulse.
Catch a vibe with Big Hass. Only on Pulse. Pulse 95.
Catch a vibe. Ya Allah. Dr. Albert, we're listening to the legendary Sabah Fakhri. What are your thoughts?
Unbelievable singer. I mean, I saw Sabah Fakhri a couple of times, and he just takes off like an airplane, and then a rocket, and then he reaches levels.
What's the dance called? There's the dance that he does. I think there's a name. Like it has a dance.
He has a dance. It's a special Sabah Fakhri dance. A lot of people try to copy it. Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's pretty amazing. It's traditional dancing, Syrian dancing. But what's amazing about Sabah Fakhri is his stamina, because he would be able to sing like this for hours.
Yeah, Allah.
7 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, mashallah. He's on the world records for the longest.
May his soul rest in peace, man. Where were you when he passed away?
I was here. Yeah, I was here.
Like when you got the news.
I was here on the news, and my Instagram had a photo of me and him together. He came to the table we were sitting on. This was like in Montreal. He did a concert in Montreal one time in 1998. So I was like in the U.S. for a couple of years at that point. I was 18 years old, and he came and sat with us on the table.
Ya Allah.
And
that must meant a lot, like for you.
It was my birthday.
What?
And he said happy birthday to me and took a picture with me. So I posted that picture and just said, well, what a legend. It's a big loss for us. He was
for the world.
inspiration.
Yeah. What a guy. And, oh man. Bless. We got Dr. Albert Agha, ladies and gentlemen, right here in the studio. Incredible guy, you human being, seriously amazing. Doctor, I gotta ask you, when was the shift to obviously? When did you decide to become like academically involved? How did that shift happen? I'm very interested in that.
Yeah, I mean, so I didn't start in academia until after my undergraduate degree. So I did my undergraduate degree. I went to business and did finance and marketing, and then moved into the music academia after that as a grad student.
Wow.
So I had to kind of repeat everything. But as a professional musician, I started singing in places, in restaurants in Boston. Just
Really?
like in the nightclubs.
Okay. Okay.
They call it their nightclubs, but it's a restaurant.
Yeah.
I sang at this place called La Elina every Friday and Saturday night. I would do like the popular pop songs, tarab songs.
Really?
To an Arab American crowd.
I'm sure they love
that.
that.
So I did that for several years, and I did some weddings and New Year's Eve and all these like events where I
So now you're really luring me in. What was it that you decided to start going to the academic?
So then I actually met some friends who were from the Syrian Conservatory in Damascus, and they heard me and they saw my performance. They said, you know what, you need to start working on this in an academic way, in a professional academic way, learning all the tools and tricks of music. And I had already been performing, but I never thought about it in an academic way. So I thought I would give it a try, and I went to do my master's in music, which was a big challenge for me.
In the U.S.?
In the U.S.
Wow.
Yeah. So I applied to do a master's in music at Northern Illinois University, and the advisor there heard me and saw that I didn't have a background in undergrad, but she encouraged me to study music on my own. So I went to Starbucks like every single morning.
That's crazy.
This was like 2008, 2009 in Illinois. I was just going every morning and studying on my own music theory, history, just kind of like I really wanted to get into this program. And then eventually I passed this exam that they give to graduate students in music. So this was already pretty difficult to do.
Advanced, yeah.
And so I was able to get into that program and start.
When you were getting into it, did you loved it, obviously, that's why you wanted to get into it, or because of that suggestion? Like what made you want to?
I mean, the encouragement also, I was also working as a marketing person behind the desk all day. I was working like with Morgan Stanley and like financial advising and all of that. And I just didn't like it. My head was always in music. Like I couldn't wait until Friday to go perform.
Wow. So that's why I wanted to get out.
Yeah.
You were passionate inside.
Yes.
About it, and you felt you were in the wrong place.
I felt like I didn't belong there. That I have a strength, and I'm never gonna be good at what I'm doing if I'm not passionate about it.
Was that a hard decision for you to pursue?
It was difficult. It was unstable. I'm not sure how it was gonna go afterwards. Music, arts in general is a very you never know what's gonna happen. You can make it. You don't make it, and
so it feels a bit weird to me asking this question for somebody who's teaching music right now, and assistant professor. But what did the family think of all of this?
Yeah, my family. So my parents I grew up with a single mother. My parents were divorced back when I was in Syria, and then I went with my mother. So I grew up with my mother. She was the one that pushed me. She was always open for it. She knew I loved music. I used to perform at home all the time. They loved hearing me, and I would sing Sabah Fakhri songs and all of these things. So she was supportive of it. Nobody discouraged me. Nobody in my family was against the idea of doing music.
And what do they think now? Like obviously
they're very proud. After NIU, I ended up applying for the PhD program at UCLA, and I got in. They liked my work. They liked my musicianship, and I had the experience at NIU of directing ensembles, because part of the job of a grad student is to learn how to teach. So it's called music pedagogy. So you learn how to teach music. as well. So you take class on teaching music.
On teaching music.
On directing music.
I love that.
And so I learned that at NIU, and that was something that I could bring to the future as an educator.
I remember this chat I had one time with a comedian. His name is Fluffy. You know Fluffy?
No.
His name. Yeah, he's Fluffy. He's a stand-up comedian.
Okay.
And he was in Saudi one time, and
I love the name.
Yeah, he's a big-time comedian, and they gave me supposedly with him he was coming in, and they gave him 3 minutes to talk to me, but his manager told me that he's really jet-lagged, and you have only one question to ask. I'm like, I don't know what to ask, because I said, I'm gonna ask him a question where he's forced to really give me more than 3 minutes, or 20 seconds, sorry, that time. So I said to him, Fluffy, what is the difference between a stand-up comedian and a funny guy? It's like, I got him with that question. And I swear to God, Dr. Albert, he looked at me with that, and he's like, the amount of money we get paid. And then that's it. And I was like, that's true.
Yeah.
You know? And when you were talking about, obviously, teaching music, what were some of the challenges that you faced as somebody who's like learning how to teach music?
Yeah.
Take me through some of the challenges.
Yeah, I mean, some of the challenges were in the region I was in, the United States. I wasn't teaching Arabic music in the Arab world. So I have to convey a musical culture and musical vocabulary that are completely new to music students that are very well versed in jazz and popular music and classical Western music. And they're great musicians, but it's very hard to convey the emotions behind our scales.
But you had, like, obviously non-Arabs learning the...
I had non-Arabs learning, and that's challenging. It's difficult to convey that. So, picking the right repertoire, like we couldn't do really deep thought-up songs that wouldn't work there. So when I came to the UAE after I finished my PhD, I was super excited because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm with the Arab students now. They're like, they have this in the heart. They grew up with this.
Facts.
So, which was exciting, which is why we're doing such great work at AUS right now.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to talk about AUS, but going back to that period, I think it's interesting that you taught, obviously, you learned how to teach music in the US. If we want to kind of take one challenge and kind of dissect it and talk about it, what would it be? Was it that? Was it like the terminologies? How would people understand our culture?
For an Arabic music educator,
Yeah.
that's a challenge. But for a music educator in general, you have the challenges of trying to fit in the right repertoire and genres for the students. Does the student what's their level of playing? And it's there's different types of music educations. There's people that focus on performance, people that focus on musicology and history, which is what I ended up doing more as a PhD student. And then of course there's like technology in music. You can learn how to do music production and engineering and become a producer. There's jazz. There is popular music.
Yeah.
So it's a very wide range of professions within the music education field, within academia in general.
Wow. Out of all these years, and again, we still have one more segment to go, but what would you say music taught you, Dr. Albert?
Music taught me how to be persistent,
Nice.
to be patient and persistent, and know that you can achieve something no matter how difficult it seems in the beginning. To take an example, there would be pieces that I was like, I'm never going to be able to do this or memorize this or play this. But then there's just something in me that, like, I cannot stop until this thing gets done. And I got to learn this piece by heart because I got to perform it in front of people. And I need to really master it. And so this is the thing that you try to bring to students that are learning music, that you have to work diligently. You have to work hard every day at your craft to be able to perfect it. It's not enough for it to be at 100%. It needs to be at 200%. Because when you get on stage, it's a whole different scene. People are watching you. People are, and that's I think some of the things that we bring in from academic music is this discipline, is this idea of getting everything.
Now that's a word I think miss right now. Just to tell you what I deal with sometimes. I had a friend of mine who's a musician. He told me, I'm gonna do a 30-second jingle, and put it on TikTok. And if it got viral, I'll do the song. I'm like, don't you get it backwards? Like, this is not the way to do it. Like, he's like, I'm going to do like 20, 30 seconds of the song.
Mm-hmm.
If this got viral, then I will proceed in finishing the record.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on AI?
That's a whole. I mean, there's going to be another episode about if we're going to talk about music criticism and critical thinking when it talks to about music. But I mean, things are changing now.
Things are.
AI is a disruptor for sure for the creative industry, and music is one of them for sure.
Do your students ask you about that? Like, I'm sure they're like,
Yeah, we talked about it, and one semester I had a beautiful conversation with my students about AI when we were talking about composers. Like, there was the software that was able to do an orchestra piece that sounded like an orchestral performance, but it was AI composed. And they experimented where they actually put the piece in front of people to listen to it and put a regular, like just a real composer, and people couldn't tell. In fact, some people liked the AI composition more, which was scary.
Yeah.
And so I asked the student, what do you guys think about that? And one student had a beautiful answer for all of this. And she said, you know what matters at the end of the day is that a human composed it, and that's what we would value. Rather than the perfection itself.
Wow, her perspective is interesting.
And that stuck in my mind, like, you know what? That's true. The fact that it's actually humanly composed, organic.
Yeah.
So maybe in the future we would have this idea, like we have it with food, for example, where something that is organically composed or organically produced just has more weight and more value to it.
Interesting.
Because of its imperfection.
Yeah. Are these the sort of, like, are you obviously conversating always with your students?
We talk about philosophical concepts with music. And they come into play. Cool. I try to get them to think about music in a different way. They take this class thinking, oh, I'm going to learn like Arabic music, or I'm like, no, you're going to learn how to think and talk about music and become a thinker through those things. And so you have sort of a dialectic about the process of music.
Take me back. I want to be 18 again. This is incredible, incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break. And actually, I want to play you a record that I want you to hear. It's by a Syrian-American hip-hop artist, Omar Fendim, and this record is called Finjan. And what Omar does is that he translates poetry from like Nizar Qabbani from Arabic to English beautifully, and building that bridge together between the West and the East. And he's somebody that impacted me personally since 2005, and that's why I got into whatever I want to get into. So we're talking about the impact. You never know who's listening to you right now, Dr. Albert, and goes like, I also want to teach music. I want to be able to study music. So we're going to take this short break with Omar Fendim, and we're going to be right back. Keep it locked on Pulse 95 Radio.
Catch a vibe with Big Hass, only on Pulse 95. Pulse.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back right here on Pulse 95 Radio. Catch a vibe. It's a special show, obviously, today. Really honored to have Dr. Albert Agha, Assistant Professor of Music at the American University of Sharjah, Director of Arabic Music Ensemble as well. But what a human being. I feel like we're just scratching the surface. We had this 20, 30-minute conversation. What a human being. What a professor. Your students are so lucky to have you. I'm so proud as an Arab. I'm so proud that we have somebody with your mind. I've already learned, Dr. Albert, so much from you, and we're even scratching this. We're just having a conversation. We're not really getting deep, which is just insane for me. So I want to say thank you, man.
Of course.
Seriously.
Yes.
We see you having the oud again. What do you want to do for us right now?
I'm gonna do some qudud halabiya, maybe, with a little mawal in the beginning.
Yes, love that. Take it away. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Dr. Albert Agha, Assistant Professor of Music at American University of Sharjah, and just an amazing human being. Take it away.
ليلي يا 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 ليلي
Allah.
يا ليل يا ليل يا ليل يا عيني يا ليل يا ليل يا مالي الشام يا الله يا مالي طال المطال يا حلوة تعالي يا مالي الشام يا الله يا مالي طال المطال يا حلوة تعالي لو المطال طال وطول لا بتغير ولا بتحول لو المطال طال وطول لا بتغير ولا بتحول مشتاقلك يا نور عيوني مشتاقلك يا نور عيوني مشتاقلك يا نور عيوني حتى نعيد الزمن الأول حتى نعيد الزمن الأول يلا تعالي كفاك تعالي يا مالي الشام يا الله يا مالي طال المطال يا حلوة تعالي
Allah. No way.
I love the claps.
No way. No way. Look, I'm going to make a statement right now. This is definitely the best Catch a Vibe episode I've had. 100%. And look, I can back it up. I'm from Saudi Arabia. I'm a proud Arab, human being, man. And what you represent to me is two things. It's like when you talk about culture, when you talk about, how our culture is so beautiful, man. It's so beautiful and it's so deep, right? It's so deep, and you know this more than anybody.
And what an amazing place to be on. I mean, honestly, with all the different cultures around here
100%.
from the Arab world,
100%.
It's a beautiful thing. You're just meeting everybody from all over the Arab worlds, and
I think you see that with your students as well. Obviously,
Yes.
the UAE is just this melting pot.
we have a diverse body of students on campus. We have great leadership. Sheikh Abdul Qasmi, God bless her. She's wonderful.
That's a big round of applause. Right? You know, Sheikh Abdul is one of my heroes.
Yes,
Like, seriously, one of my heroes.
and she loves the arts. She's very supportive of the arts. So it's great to be at AUS. I love it there.
Oh man,
and I love meeting all kinds of beautiful people in Dubai and Sharjah and the UAE.
man.
So,
We love you, sir. Seriously, this is incredible. Let's talk about AUS. How did that connection happen? Like how long you been now at AUS?
So actually, AUS was my first gig after I finished my PhD. So I went to UCLA. I did my dissertation there.
UCLA, amazing. They got a good basketball program.
Yes, they do. And it was my first job right after I finished my dissertation. 2019, I finished in December. I came in January of 2020. Of course, COVID started in 2020, and it was a big change for me.
Okay.
But it was an emotionally challenging time, and it was like trying, كانت تجربة صعبة, obviously it was a difficult.
So it's like your first gig, first job.
It was my first academic full-time gig.
Wow.
Yeah, I did a little bit of visiting adjunct job. Adjunct professors usually are they teach a reduced amount of loads, but this was my first full-time gig.
Do you remember your first class?
I do remember my first class. It was
Like ever?
Yeah, I think it was the Oud class. So I teach a Oud class for like 15 people.
I gotta sign up for this.
You can come to the Oud class, of course, yes. And this is an Oud class for complete beginners. So we have like engineering students. We have people that are in CAD, architecture students, business students. They want to take an elective. So they come and take Oud class as an elective.
Insane.
Because we don't have a major program at AUS. We have minors in music and theater. We're working on establishing majors. So we have a lot of students that come from different backgrounds, which is also makes it, challenging at times because
cool.
you have to teach them everything from scratch, and some people can't. The oud is too big for them. You know, like they need to. Some people drop out. They can't. I can't do it. It's too difficult for me, man. I gotta focus on my engineering stuff.
Crazy.
So, and that was my first class, and I was like, wow, this is gonna be interesting. I've never taught a group oud class.
Yeah.
Usually it's individual, one-on-one. So this is like 15 oud students. They sit down around the professor and they learn oud, and we give them oud for the semester.
For people who are listening in right now, and they don't know the AUS culture. I know that American University of Sharjah has a culture that is there's a certain culture, obviously. I want you to talk me through it based on obviously with you're the assistant professor of music there. Mm-hmm. What's the culture like there?
One of the things that distinguish AUS is the strong core of liberal arts education. So this is one of the things we really value. If you're an engineering student, you get to take classes outside of your field. If you are a business student, take classes in arts and literature. So you become well-rounded. And this is how education was actually in antiquity. They used to only take students that, all the ulama and big people, they would be like mathematics, music, physics, medicine. They would be, a well-rounded person. And so this idea of the core liberal arts education is something we really value in the academic culture at the US. And so the students get to engage in these creative endeavors no matter what. We have theater, of course, masrah, and we have a good theater program. We just put on a theater a show called Museum in Baghdad, which is this beautiful play about the Iraq war and establishing a museum during the war. And then it flashes back to the 1920s during the British occupation. This is a beautiful, complex play that they did.
Obviously, this all, when you're talking, obviously it makes total sense with Sheikh Abudur, Allah yahmiya, with His Highness, Dr. Sheikh Sultan as well. There's a lot of attention on culture, and obviously Sharjah is the cultural capital of the UAE. At one point, the cultural capital of the Islamic region.
Yes.
But how do you feel what's your feeling that you're part of this? When we talk about now, music and the US, your name is there, Dr. Albert Agha. How do you feel you're being part of this?
It's really great to be part of this. And it's great to be part of an educator for Arab youth, Arab students. This is something really close to me as an Arab American that came back to this part of the world and just kind of, I'm really proud at what, I was shocked when I came back here. I was like, wow, this is an incredible place. Things got so big. The cities got so big. When I was here in the 80s, Sharjah was a little small city. And now it's this vibrant cultural capital with lots of people from around the world. And it's really cool to be part of this experience.
If somebody's listening to us right now and they're about to choose whatever they want to get into, and they're into music, why would they choose AUS? Kind of pitch it to me, because I'm telling you, if I'm choosing that, I'm signing with you, doctor. I'm signing there. No, but seriously, what makes it special? Because you guys, for the past 45 minutes right now, we've been talking to Dr. Albert Agha, and we're just getting to, I swear to God, we're just scratching the surface. And I fell in love with your mentality, with your, seriously, the vibe, the energy, the knowledge that you have so far that you're giving me. Only from this interview. How is it about teaching a class? What would you tell these individuals that are thinking about it?
One of the things also about AUS is the body of faculty, incredible faculty. We choose the best faculty from around the world to come and teach here. We have some amazing professors in all of their subjects, whether it's in music, theater, engineering. They all have degrees from the best universities around the world, and they bring that knowledge here and they teach the way they learn. So they're bringing the level of education from the top universities around the world into AUS and creating that academic culture while they're teaching the classes. So it's pretty rigorous. A lot of AUS students would attest to that. It's a pretty strong program in all of the fields that we teach. So, to come and you can be part of that with the music. We have a very serious, even though it's a minor program, we teach music theory, we teach music history, we teach applied lessons in piano and oud performance, Arabic music, Western music, if you want to have the combination of both. And we're, inshallah, we're working on actually establishing a performance center.
Yeah, you said that.
And a major program.
Can we talk about that, or like?
Yeah, it's in the making.
It's in the making. Okay.
It's still kind of submitted proposal. We're working on doing that. It's a big project. Requires infrastructure, of course, and we would be one of the premier music bachelors in music programs. Of course, NYU Abu Dhabi is there, but I think this is a ripe environment here to be doing that.
Wow. If someone would ask you this last question about what's your dream personally and what's your dream for AUS, so like as Albert Agha, what's your dream?
My dream is to just change the lives of as many students as I can going into the future. I do that every year, and I just continue doing that day to day, semester to semester. I love teaching. I'm passionate about teaching.
Yeah, it shows. I want to say thank you. We have a saying in Arabic, قم للمعلم يوفيه التبجيل كاد المعلم أن يكون رسولا. Like, respect the teacher. A teacher, could have been a prophet. Like, that's what it kind of translates to. So thank you on behalf of all the students, because it really makes a difference.
It does. The care for the students is a really big thing that we tend to focus on a lot. This individualized study, individualized focus on the students. We focus on their well-being. We make sure, and this is one of the things about the creative outlets for arts is it allows the students to kind of vent out in a healthy way through their creative spirit. And everybody have a certain degree of creative spirit that they can use to kind of just express themselves, because people can't just be just boxed in doing the same thing every day.
Correct.
In their own field, they need to explore their creativity
and
get in touch with their inner
100%.
Inner self.
And isn't it amazing the university that you're studying at gives you this platform?
Exactly. Yeah. And again, I'm a bit ethnocentric when it comes to Arabic music education. I'm actually writing a chapter now on music education in the Arab world, like how Arab music education and Western music education kind of it's called coloniality in music, basically the idea of colonialism in music education. And so how education itself kind of overshadowed all disciplines when it comes to the arts. And so now we think about music theory from like a Western perspective, but we don't really think about it from an Arab perspective, Arabic music perspective, or Indian music perspective.
Yes.
So I'm discussing this in a
You guys discuss
chapter.
this in class?
No. This is just an
external
chapter that I'm writing as part of a book that discusses this concept from different. So we have person writing about this in Mexico. Person writing about this in Southeast Asia.
Oh wow!
Just how Western music education sort of overshadows the music idioms of other cultures.
It's incredible,
and it's a very complicated and deep concept historically.
I get it, but the thought-provoking out of the conversations we've had, I think there's like 5, 6, 7 topics that we talked about today that I can kind of delve into. This is fascinating. I want to say Allah yahmeek.
Thank you so much.
May God bless you. Seriously, I want to say thank you for being who you are. I'm not letting you talk. Seriously, that's how I feel. We've actually reached the end of our show, over-exceeded a little bit, but any last words you'd like to say to anybody listening and all the AUS students, your students, what do you tell them?
Shout out to all my students. I love you guys. I'm super proud of you for doing Motini, and it was a great project. Thank you for having me on your show. I love the work you're doing, by the way. It's amazing for me as an ethnomusicologist. I really appreciate someone who brings this to the forefront and bring these lives to discussion. We were talking about the musicians you interview, and it's such great work that you're doing.
And listen, I definitely want to invite you on the show again, but this time let's get some students involved.
For sure.
Let's see how we can do that. I kind of want to give you a little bit of news, and I kind of took this decision now.
Uh-oh. We're gonna hit.
Mawtani
Yes.
will actually be on rotation on Pulse 95 Radio.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Rotation meaning it's not going to only play on my show or whenever I want to. No, it's going to, you could be driving at 3:30 a.m., you can hear it. Or like 2 p.m. It's going to be on rotation, you guys. So you should be proud of yourself because this is an important record and the way you guys did it was beautiful. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Has.
Here
Thanks
you
for
go.
having me.
Where can people follow you? Like if people want to follow you personally.
Instagram, I have Halabi Boy, my handle.
Halabi Boy? That's another episode right there.
Halai boy. Halai
yeah.
boy. Yep.
Okay.
Halabi Boy.
Okay.
With an I.
Nice.
Can't spell. It's a little late.
100%, yeah. No, but bless you. Definitely people will follow you there. And, obviously you're teaching this, classes at AUS. Thank you so much. And we actually want to play it one more time, Mawtani. I want to end the show with it because I think it's important to play it again. An amazing rendition of Mawtani, My Homeland. Dr. Albert Agha, thank you so much for your time and energy.
Thanks
and
for having me.
Peace and love, you guys. We'll catch you guys next week. Enjoy this amazing rendition. Peace and love as always, and truth and righteousness never dies. Thank you, AUS, for doing what you're doing, and thank you for giving students and Arab voices a platform to excel. Thank you, AUS, for having someone like Dr. Albert Agha, for me to inspire me personally. I always say this, I get rejuvenated from Catch a Vibe episodes. It's incredible. And today, definitely, I got the most rejuvenated. It's like a stamp of validity. That's how I see it, Dr. Albert.
I love it. I love it.
Seriously, that's how I see it. The fact that we're talking to a professor and in music like that, and we're vibing with each other, it's insane. As you can see, I can't end this show, and this happens every time I love a human being. So that's why I'm going to say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Salam.